this was a symbolic vote. It certainly put on the record, yes, Republicans are opposed to this Iranian nuclear deal, but there seems to be very little that can be done now to stop this.
Well, this certainly is a blow for national security. And as you know, Betty, there's bipartisan opposition in both the House and the Senate, a majority of both houses opposing this deal. The House has taken its vote, registering its opposition to the Iranian deal that the president has negotiated. It's a bad deal, bad for our national security, and certainly bad for our allies in the Middle East. But in addition, the president has, in working with Senate Democrats, blocked a vote in the Senate, so the Senate is unable to register its opposition, which we know would be, again, a majority of that body, and would send to the president's desk a bill that he would have to veto in order to save the sanctions that he wants to relieve.
Congressman, the countries who negotiated the Iranian deal, you know who they are: the U.S., Russia, China, France, the U.K., the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, plus Germany, and plus the European Union. Is it your contention that all of these countries have made a mistake, that the Iranians have basically pulled one over everybody's eyes?
Well, in this instance, what they've done is they've looked to leadership from the United States. And unfortunately, Secretary Kerry and the president negotiated with Iran a deal that Iran would give us. They basically tried to assess what do they think that Iran would give versus what is it that we need. That's where this deal falls short. It allows Iran to continue to enrich. It allows Iran to continue its ballistic missile programs, which would place the United States at risk. All of these nations are very concerned about every aspect of this, but they did defer to the leadership of the United States. And in this instance, right, both houses of the Congress, on a bipartisan basis, a majority, believe that the president's wrong.
Sir, but I'm speaking specifically of everyone who negotiated this. Given the tension between the United States and Russia, are you telling us that Russia looked towards the United States for leadership on this issue, that the Russians and Sergei Lavrov, their foreign minister, did not take matters into their own hands during the negotiations?
Well, everybody knows, and it's certainly very clear, that the United States was a lead negotiator and set the tone for all these negotiations. Certainly Secretary Kerry has made it very clear that he believes that he was the lead in all aspects of this. And in that lead, I think he fell short. Certainly we could have gotten a better deal for our national security and a better deal for our allies. The concern now is going to be what is the reaction in the Middle East, because we could very easily have an arms race as those who look to the threat of a possible nuclear Iran may undertake their own programs.
Okay, Congressman, you met with IAEA officials. What did they tell you?
It was very concerning. I met with the lead inspector for the Iranian task force with the IAEA, which is the agency that's responsible for conducting the implementation of the deal that the administration negotiated. And he told me that although he's going to be handed a ledger, that he believes that he can ensure the custody and control of what's on that ledger, that no one's asked him to certify the ledger. So, in fact, there, as the president said, there will not be inspections anywhere, any place. The president said that there would be. There will not be. There are places they will not be able to go. There are time periods that have to fall into place before the IAEA can demand access. So there's a great deal of uncertainty on the ground about what's going to happen in Iran while the IAEA is left hindered.
But, I mean, for instance, I believe as part of the agreement that Iran has to export their enriched uranium, up to 98% of that is going to be exported. Isn't that something that can be checked?
Well, and that was the point he was making. It can be checked as to what they have declared that they have. But since we can't inspect all of their facilities, there's really no way to know exactly what they do have. The president did not negotiate a deal that does allow for complete and total inspections. Even though the president, when the deal was done, stood in front of the American people and said this allows inspections anywhere, anytime, any place, it's just not true. The agreement itself does not give the IAEA that access. And so we never will know truly what is going on in Iran. We will have speculation. We'll certainly have intel community working to try to ascertain it, but we will not have the transparency, the openness that the president promised.
Congressman, one of the Republicans running for President, Donald Trump, one of his famous books was The Art of the Deal, the art of this deal in any sort of negotiation, especially when the diplomatic stakes are this high. Is there not supposed to be a give and take? One side cannot possibly get everything that it wants.
That's true, but this is about nuclear weapons. I mean, there's no margin of error here, right? I mean, it's not as if this is the type of deals that Donald Trump negotiates. This is something that goes straight to the heart of national security. So because of that, you have to go into those negotiations with absolutes that you must have. And in this instance, the president had absolutes. He told us what they were, and then he gave them up. That's not compromise. That's foolish.